I, 29F, never thought my own sister would try to destroy my life at my baby shower. But there I was, 8 months pregnant, surrounded by pink balloons and smiling faces, when Lydia grabbed the microphone and announced to everyone that I'd been sleeping with my boss. The cupcake I'd just bitten into lodged in my throat. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was choke while 50 pairs of eyes turned to stare at me. My husband Marcus stood frozen by the gift table. His face went white. The room fell silent except for my desperate coughing. My mother-in-law rushed over with water, but I pushed past her and stumbled toward my sister. She stood there with a sick smile on her face, holding that microphone like a weapon. "I just thought everyone should know the truth about perfect Clara," Lydia said. Her voice echoed through the decorated backyard. "Since she's having a baby and all. Marcus deserves to know what kind of woman he married." The water finally cleared my throat. I found my voice. But before I could speak, my boss's wife, Helen, stepped forward from the crowd. She'd been my mentor for 5 years. She knew exactly what kind of person I was, and she was about to make my sister regret everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand why my sister would do something so cruel, you need to know our history. Lydia and I were born just 11 months apart. Irish twins, people called us. But we couldn't have been more different. I worked hard in school while Lydia partied. I saved money while she spent it. I built relationships while she burned bridges. The real problem started when we both graduated college. I landed a job at a marketing firm downtown. Lydia bounced between retail positions, never lasting more than 6 months anywhere. She said bosses were always unfair to her. She said coworkers were jealous. She said customers were impossible. It was never her fault. When I got engaged to Marcus, Lydia barely congratulated me. She showed up to my wedding in a white dress. My mother had to force her to change. She gave a speech that was supposed to be funny but came off bitter. She joked about how I always got everything first, how I always won, how I was the golden child. People laughed uncomfortably. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table. Then came the promotion that changed everything. "That's the only way someone your age gets promoted that fast." I hung up on her. We didn't speak for 2 weeks. Then she called crying, apologizing, saying she was drunk and jealous and didn't mean it. I forgave her. I always forgave her. That was my first mistake. Being the youngest manager in my department came with pressure. I had to prove myself every day. Some of the older employees resented me. They whispered in break rooms. They questioned my decisions in meetings. But I kept my head down and worked harder. My boss, Richard, supported me completely. He was 60 years old, happily married for 35 years, and treated me like a daughter. 1 month into my new position, I found a note on my desk. It was typed, no signature. It said I didn't deserve my job. It said I was a fraud. It said everyone knew how I really got promoted. My hands shook as I read it. I looked around the office, wondering who left it. Everyone seemed normal. Everyone smiled at me the same way. I threw the note away and tried to forget about it. But they kept coming. 1 or 2 a week. Each one worse than the last. They started mentioning specific things. My outfit from Tuesday. The meeting I led on Friday. The lunch I had with Richard to discuss quarterly projections. Someone was watching me. Someone wanted me to quit. I finally broke down and told Lydia about the notes. We were having coffee at our parents' house. She listened with wide eyes, gasping at the right moments, holding my hand when I started crying. "That's horrible," she said. "You need to report this to HR immediately. This is harassment. What if it escalates? What if this person is dangerous?" She seemed so concerned, so genuine. I actually felt closer to her in that moment than I had in years. She offered to come to my office, to help me feel safe. She said she would protect me. Her little performance was perfect. The notes got worse after that conversation. They started mentioning my husband. They said Marcus would find out the truth about me. They said my marriage would end. They said everyone would know what kind of woman I really was. But what truth? What had I done? I was losing sleep. I was paranoid at work. I started making mistakes. Richard noticed my performance slipping. He called me into his office on a Thursday afternoon. I thought he would my work account to Richard's. Emails that said things I'd never written, intimate things, disgusting things. These were sent to me anonymously, Marcus said. Clara, please tell me these are fake. Please tell me someone is playing a sick joke. I grabbed his phone and read them carefully. They had my email address. They had Richard's. The timestamps matched days I'd stayed late at work. But the words weren't mine. The feelings weren't mine. None of it was real. Marcus, I swear on our baby's life I didn't write these, I said. Someone is trying to destroy us. Someone wants to ruin everything we've built. He wanted to believe me. I could see it in his eyes, but doubt had been planted. He kept asking questions. Why would someone do this? Who hated me that much? How did they get access to my email? I didn't have answers. All I had was the truth, and suddenly that wasn't enough. We spent the next week barely talking. Marcus slept in the guest room. He said he needed space to think. He said he loved me but didn't know what to believe. I cried myself to sleep every night, holding my belly, apologizing to our unborn daughter for the chaos she was about to enter. Lydia called constantly during this time. She offered to talk to Marcus. She offered to vouch for my character. She said she would stand by me no matter what. She even helped finalize the baby shower plans, taking over when I was too emotional to make decisions. She picked the caterer. She sent the final invitations. She said she would make everything perfect for me. The morning of the baby shower, I woke up determined to save my marriage. I put on my prettiest maternity dress. I did my makeup perfectly. I would show Marcus and everyone else that I was still the same Clara, still the woman worthy of love and respect, still the mother ready to raise our child. The party started beautifully. My mother had outdone herself with decorations. Pink streamers hung from every tree. Tables overflowed with food and gifts. Friends from college came. Co-workers arrived with presents. Even Richard's wife Helen surprised me by showing up. She said Richard told her about the shower and she wanted to support me. Marcus stayed distant but polite. He helped set up chairs. He thanked people for coming, but he wouldn't look me in the eye, chuckled nervously. Her tone was strange, too sharp, too pointed. But she continued. She got the best grades, she got the best job, she got the best husband. Lydia looked directly at Marcus. Or at least, that's what we all thought. But sometimes the truth has a way of coming out, doesn't it, Clara? My heart started racing. She wouldn't. She couldn't. Not here. Not now. Not in front of everyone I loved. You see, my perfect sister has been keeping a secret, Lydia said. A dirty little secret about how she really got that big promotion. About what she's been doing with her boss Richard behind closed doors. About the affair that's been going on right under her husband's nose. The cupcake turned to cement in my throat. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't breathe. The world spun around me as I choked and gasped for air. My mother screamed. Someone knocked over a pitcher of lemonade. Helen pushed through the crowd toward me. That's right, Lydia continued, her voice getting louder. Perfect Clara has been sleeping with her 60-year-old boss. Those late nights at the office, those private meetings, those business lunches, all lies. And I have the emails to prove it. My mother-in-law finally got water down my throat. I gasped and coughed, tears streaming down my face. Not from the choking, from the betrayal. From the realization that my own sister had orchestrated everything. The notes, the emails, the destruction of my life. Lydia, stop, my mother shouted. What are you doing? This is your sister's baby shower. I'm telling the truth, Lydia said. Marcus deserves to know. Everyone deserves to know what kind of person she really is. A liar, a cheater, a woman who would betray her husband while carrying his child. I stood up on shaking legs. The crowd parted as I walked toward the stage. Lydia smiled down at me like she'd won. Like she'd finally beaten me at something. Like destroying me was her greatest achievement. You sent those notes, I said. My voice was hoarse but steady. You created those fake emails. You've been trying to ruin my life because you can't stand that I worked for my success, while you blamed everyone else for your failures. Prove it, she said. Suggestion that she earned her position through anything other than merit is not just false, it's disgusting. Lydia's face went pale. She tried to grab the microphone back, but Helen stepped away from her. Furthermore, Helen said, creating and distributing false emails constitutes fraud and defamation. As an attorney, I can tell you that whoever did this could face serious legal consequences, prison time even. So I suggest the real guilty party come forward now before I involve law enforcement. I pulled out my phone. I'd been waiting for this moment since I'd discovered the truth 3 days ago. The private investigator I'd hired had worked fast. He'd traced the IP addresses. He'd found the evidence. I'd kept it secret, waiting for the right moment. This was it. The anonymous emails came from IP address 192.168.1.47. I said loud enough for everyone to hear. That IP address is registered to a phone belonging to Lydia Morrison. My sister. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother sank into a chair. My father's face turned red with rage. Marcus looked between me and Lydia, understanding finally dawning in his eyes. The investigator also found that she accessed my work email through a keylogger she installed on my laptop when she visited my house last month. I continued. She used that access to create the fake emails. She sent them to herself, then forwarded them to Marcus. Every bit of this was planned. "You're lying," Lydia stammered. But her voice had lost its confidence. "You can't prove any of that. You're just trying to save your marriage." I held up a manila folder. The investigator's full report. Timestamps, digital footprints, screenshots of you bragging to your friend Katie about your plan in text messages. Would you like me to read them out loud? Lydia's boyfriend Jake, who'd been standing near the drinks table, walked toward the stage. His face was stone. He'd been dating Lydia for 8 months. He thought he knew her. "Is it true?" he asked her. "Did you really do all this to your own sister?" Lydia looked around, desperately. No one would meet her eyes. The crowd of family and friends who'd come to celebrate new life were instead witnessing the death of her reputation. She had everything, Lydia whispered into the microphone. Everything always came so easy to her. I just wanted her to know how it felt to lose. Was quiet, but carried across the yard. "Lydia, get down from there. Get your things. Leave. Don't come back to this house until you've gotten help for whatever sickness made you do this." "Dad," Lydia started. "No," he said. "I'm done making excuses for you. I'm done enabling your jealousy. You crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. You tried to destroy your pregnant sister's life. Get out." Lydia climbed down from the stage. No one moved as she walked through the crowd. Her heels clicked on the concrete path. She stopped in front of me. For a moment, I thought she might apologize. Instead, she leaned close and whispered so only I could hear. "This isn't over," she said. "Yes, it is," I replied. "Helen's filing a restraining order on Monday. If you come near me, my family, or my workplace again, you'll be arrested." The investigator recorded everything. Your harassment, your fraud, your defamation. "You're lucky I'm not pressing criminal charges." Her face crumbled. The reality of her situation finally hit her. She'd lost everything in her pursuit to take everything from me. Her family, her boyfriend, her freedom to torment me. She had nothing left but the bitter taste of her own jealousy. After she left, the party tried to recover. People attempted small talk. They picked at food. They pretended we hadn't just witnessed a family explosion. But the joy was gone. The celebration had turned into a crime scene. Marcus finally approached me. He looked broken, ashamed, sorry. He took my hands in his, and for the first time in 2 weeks, I felt his warmth. "Clara, I'm so sorry," he said. "I should have trusted you. I should have known you would never betray me. I let doubt poison my mind. I failed you when you needed me most." "She's very convincing," I said. "She's been perfecting her manipulation since we were kids. I don't blame you for being confused. But I should have believed in us," he said. "In what we built together. In the woman I married. Can you forgive me?" I touched my belly. Our daughter kicked, as if reminding me what really mattered. Not the drama, not the pain, not the betrayal, but the future. The family Marcus and I would build together. "I forgive you," I said. But we need counseling. We need manipulation. The guests slowly began leaving. They hugged me carefully, like I might break. They whispered words of support. They promised to check on me. My college friends said they'd plan another shower. A do-over. A chance to celebrate properly. My parents were the last to leave. My mother had been crying for an hour. She kept apologizing for Lydia, for not seeing the signs, for raising a daughter capable of such cruelty. "This isn't your fault," I told her. "Lydia made her choices. She chose jealousy over love. She chose destruction over support. Those were her decisions, not yours." "But I should have done something sooner," my mother said. "I saw how she looked at you, how she competed with you. I thought it was normal sibling rivalry. I never imagined it would go this far." "None of us did," I said. "But now we know. Now we can protect ourselves. Now we can move forward without her poison in our lives." My father hugged me tightly. "I'm proud of you, Clara. For your success. For your strength. For not letting her win. You're the daughter I raised." Lydia became someone I don't recognize. 2 weeks after the shower, I gave birth to our daughter. We named her Grace, because that's what had carried us through the storm. Marcus never left my side during labor. He held my hand. He whispered encouragement. He cried when Grace took her first breath. Lydia didn't come to the hospital. She wasn't invited. She'd moved in with Katie, the friend she'd bragged to about her plan. But even Katie got tired of her eventually. Last I heard, Lydia was living in a studio apartment across town, working at a call center, still blaming everyone else for her problems. She sent me a letter when Grace was 3 months old. 6 pages of justifications, explanations, half-hearted apologies wrapped in more accusations. She said I'd ruined her life by exposing her. She said I should have kept it in the family. She said I owed her forgiveness because we were sisters. I threw the letter away without finishing it. Some relationships can't be saved. Some people can't be redeemed. Some sisters choose to be enemies, and no amount of shared blood can change that choice. Richard promoted me to vice president when Grace was 6 months old. Helen were there. Our true friends were there. Grace was our flower girl, throwing petals with 3-year-old enthusiasm. Everyone who mattered witnessed our commitment to each other, our promise to trust, our vow to protect our family from anyone who would harm us. During the reception, my mother pulled me aside. She'd been carrying guilt for 3 years. She still blamed herself for Lydia's actions. She still wondered what she did wrong. "You did nothing wrong," I told her again. "Some people choose darkness even when surrounded by light. Lydia had every opportunity we had, every advantage, every chance to be better. She chose differently. But she's still my daughter," my mother said. "I still love her, even after everything." "Does that make me weak?" "It makes you human," I said. "But loving someone doesn't mean accepting their abuse. It doesn't mean enabling their cruelty. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face the consequences of their actions." My mother nodded. She understood. She'd been in therapy since the baby shower, working through her codependency, her enabling, her guilt. She was learning to love Lydia from a distance, to hope for her redemption without sacrificing her other daughter's safety. The restraining order expired after 3 years. Lydia could have contacted me then, but she didn't. I think she finally understood that some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. Some betrayals can't be forgiven. Some sisters can't be sisters anymore. I heard updates occasionally through mutual acquaintances. Lydia had started therapy. She'd kept a job for a full year. She'd stopped drinking. Maybe she was getting better. Maybe she was learning to manage her jealousy. Maybe someday she'd become someone capable of healthy relationships, but that wasn't my concern anymore. My concern was Grace. Teaching her confidence without arrogance, success without stepping on others, achievement without destroying those around her. Everything Lydia never learned. Grace is 4 now. She's smart and kind and brave. She stands up to bullies at preschool. She shares her toys. She celebrates when her friends do well. She's everything a big sister should be to the little brother we're expecting in 3 months. Sometimes she asks about Aunt Lydia. She's seen pictures from when we were young, before the bitterness, before the jealousy consumed everything good between us. I tell her age publicly. She freed us from years of subtle manipulation. We might have endured her passive-aggressive behavior forever if she hadn't overplayed her hand. Instead, she gave us the gift of clarity, the gift of freedom from her toxic presence. I don't hate my sister. Hate requires energy I'd rather spend on my family. I nothing her. She's a stranger who happens to share my DNA. A cautionary tale I'll tell Grace when she's older. A reminder that success isn't about beating others, but about becoming your best self. The last time I saw Lydia was at our grandmother's funeral last year. She stood on the opposite side of the church. She'd lost weight. Her clothes were professional but worn. She looked older than her 32 years. Life without family support had aged her. We made eye contact once during the service. I expected to feel something. Anger, sadness, regret. Instead, I felt nothing. She was just another mourner in the crowd. Another stranger saying goodbye to someone who'd loved us both but couldn't make us love each other. She didn't approach me at the reception. She didn't try to use grief as a bridge. She left quietly after paying her respects. No drama. No scenes. No attempts to rewrite history. Maybe therapy had taught her something after all. My parents invited her to Christmas last year. They asked my permission first, of course. I told them I wouldn't be coming if she was there. Not from spite, but from wisdom. Grace didn't need to meet someone who'd tried to destroy her parents' marriage before she was born. Marcus didn't need to pretend to be civil to someone who'd tried to convince him I was a cheater. They understood. They chose us. They spent Christmas morning at our house, watching Grace open presents, eating pancakes, being the family we'd fought to preserve. Lydia spent Christmas alone. Consequences of her own making. Isolation of her own design. Some people think I'm too harsh, that I should forgive and forget, that sisters should always find a way back to each other. Those people have never had someone they trusted completely try to annihilate their life. They've never had their own blood become their worst enemy. Forgiveness isn't always the answer. Sometimes the answer is distance. Sometimes it's boundaries. Sometimes it's accept day. The moment my sister tried to destroy me became the moment I found my strength. The public humiliation she planned for me became her own downfall. I learned that family isn't about obligation, it's about choice. And sometimes, the best choice is to let toxic people go, even if they share your last name, even if they shared your childhood, even if they're supposed to love you. Lydia taught me that lesson through her cruelty. She showed me that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty, that siblings can be strangers, that sometimes the person who should protect you becomes the one you need protection from. But she also taught me to value the people who stand by me, who defend me, who believe in me even when lies seem convincing. Those people are my real family. Those people deserve my time, my love, my loyalty. My daughter will grow up knowing she's loved. She'll know she's supported. She'll know that success comes from hard work, not from tearing others down. She'll know that jealousy is poison that only hurts the person carrying it. She'll also know that it's okay to walk away from toxic people, that family doesn't give anyone the right to abuse you, that protecting yourself and your loved ones isn't selfish but necessary. These are the lessons Lydia's betrayal taught me. Expensive lessons paid for with pain and tears and nearly losing everything I'd built, but valuable lessons that made me stronger, wiser, and more careful about who I trust. The investigator I hired still checks in occasionally. He became invested in my story, in my survival. He says Lydia hasn't tried anything since the restraining order expired. She seems to have accepted defeat. Or maybe she's planning something new. Either way, I'm ready. I'm protected. I'm surrounded by people who would spot her manipulation immediately. Marcus installed security cameras after the baby shower, not from paranoia, but from prudence. We keep our social media private. We don't share our location. We live our lives freely but carefully. Lydia took our innocence, but not our happiness. Grace asked me yesterday if everyone has a sister. Such an innocent question from someone who doesn't know the complexity of my answer. I told her that some people have sisters, some have brothers, some have both, and some have neither. But everyone can choose their family from the people who love them right. Do you have a sister, Mommy? She asked. I used to. Kindness over cruelty. Who builds instead of destroys. Who celebrates others' success instead of plotting their downfall. We're naming him Samuel. It means God has heard. Because our prayers for peace were answered when Lydia left our lives. Our prayers for healing were answered when we learned to trust again. Our prayers for happiness were answered when we built our family on solid ground. The nursery is ready. Painted blue with white clouds. A rocking chair where I'll sing him to sleep. A bookshelf full of stories about brave heroes and kind hearts. Everything waiting for his arrival. Everything prepared with love, not jealousy. With excitement, not resentment. Marcus talks to my belly every night. He tells Samuel about his big sister, about the park where we'll play, about the grandparents who will spoil him, about the life waiting for him. A life free from toxic aunts who would use him as a weapon. Free from family drama that poisons childhoods. We're having a baby shower next month. A real one this time. Helen is organizing it with my mother. They've rented a restaurant instead of using our backyard. They've hired security, though they haven't told me that. I overheard them discussing it. They want to make sure Lydia can't repeat her performance. I appreciate their protection, but I'm not afraid anymore. Lydia has no power over me. She can't hurt me with lies because everyone knows the truth. She can't destroy my marriage because Marcus and I are stronger than ever. She can't take my job because my work speaks for itself. She's powerless. And people like her hate being powerless. The guest list for this shower is smaller. Only the people who stood by me after the first one. Only the ones who never doubted my character. Only family by choice, not chance. It will be perfect because it will be real. No hidden agendas, no secret resentments, no sisters plotting destruction while pretending to help. Sometimes I dream about the shower that started everything. But in my dreams, I know what's coming. I take the microphone before Lydia can. I expose her plan before she can execute it. I protect myself instead of being ambushed. My subconscious rewriting history, giving me the power I didn't have then. But I don't need to rewrite history. What happened, happened. And I survived it. I won. Not because I destroyed Lydia, but because I didn't let her destroy me. Celebrated my leadership. No one questioned my promotion. Everyone knew I'd earned it. Lydia's lies had actually solidified my reputation. By surviving her attack, I'd proven my strength. By maintaining my dignity, I'd proven my character. Marcus framed the investigator's report. Not the whole thing, just the summary page that cleared my name. He hung it in his office at home, a reminder of what we overcame, a symbol of truth defeating lies, a monument to our survival. Why keep it? I asked him once. Why not forget the whole thing? Because forgetting makes us vulnerable, he said. Remembering keeps us strong. Remembering protects us from people like Lydia, from manipulation disguised as love, from jealousy disguised as concern. He was right. Forgetting would be dangerous. Not because Lydia might return, but because there are other Lydias in the world. Other people who smile while planning your destruction. Other family members who resent your success. Other sisters who can't celebrate your joy. Grace will know this story when she's older. Not to make her paranoid, but to make her aware. To help her recognize manipulation. To teach her that actions have consequences. To show her that standing up to bullies, even family bullies, is necessary and right. Samuel will know it too. He'll understand why he has one aunt instead of two. Why some family photos have a person cut out. Why we're careful about who we trust. Not from bitterness, but from wisdom. Not from hatred, but from hard-earned knowledge. My parents have finally stopped apologizing for Lydia. They've accepted that she was responsible for her choices, that they couldn't have prevented her jealousy, that loving both daughters didn't mean accepting abuse from one. They see Grace more often now. Weekly dinners, weekend trips to the zoo, building memories that aren't tainted by Lydia's presence. being the grandparents they always wanted to be, without managing their other daughter's resentment. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if she hadn't done it? My mother asked recently. If she'd just been happy for you. We'd still be pretending, I said, still walking on eggshells, still managing her emotions, still making ourselves smaller so she wouldn't feel bad. Her explosion freed us from years of subtle torture. My mother nodded. She's sister tried to destroy her. About the boss who stood by his employee. About the wife who defended truth. They look at me with curiosity and respect. I've become something of a legend. The woman who survived family betrayal and came out stronger. Richard retired last year. In his farewell speech, he mentioned me. He said I was one of the employees he was most proud of. Not just for my work, but for my character. For showing that success and integrity aren't mutually exclusive. For proving that good people can win against those who would tear them down. His replacement knows the story, too. Helen told him over dinner before he accepted the position. She wanted him to understand the dynamics. To know why I had such strong support in the company, to appreciate what I'd overcome. He's been nothing but professional and supportive. Another person who judges me by my work, not by lies. The baby shower story has become family lore. Not the shameful secret Lydia probably hoped it would be, but the triumphant tale of truth winning over lies. Of family choosing protection over enabling. Of a pregnant woman standing up to her bully and winning everything the bully tried to take. Grace will hear age-appropriate versions as she grows. How mommy was brave. How daddy learned to trust. How some people do mean things because they're hurting inside. How we protect ourselves from those people, even when we love them. Samuel will hear it too. How his parents' marriage was tested before he was born. How they chose each other over doubt. How they built something stronger from something broken. How his existence is proof of their survival and love. But mostly, our children will know happiness. They'll know security. They'll know that their parents will protect them from anyone who would harm them, even if that person shares their blood. They'll know that real family is chosen, not just born. The new baby shower is in 2 weeks. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Excited to celebrate properly. To be surrounded by love without hidden agendas. To eat cake without choking on betrayal. To open gifts without wondering who's planning my destruction. Lydia won't be there in person, but she'll be there in lessons learned, in boundaries maintained, in the strength she accidentally gave me, in the clarity her cruelty provided. She'll be there as the example of what not to become, of what jealous perfection. No cupcakes this time, nothing I can choke on if someone decides to destroy my day. Though no one will. Because we've removed the destroyers from our life. We've surrounded ourselves with builders instead. My mother asked if I ever miss having a sister. The truth is, I miss the sister I thought I had. The one who existed before jealousy consumed her. The one in old photos who smiled genuinely at my college graduation. The one who was my maid of honor before she wore white to my wedding. That sister was probably never real, but I miss the illusion. I don't miss the real Lydia. The one who celebrated my failures, who resented my successes, who planned my destruction while pretending to support me. That Lydia was a burden I carried for too long. Letting her go was liberation, not loss. Grace won't have to carry that burden. She won't have an aunt who makes her feel bad for doing well, who competes with her instead of encouraging her, who would use her as a weapon against me if given the chance. Grace is free from all of that. So is Samuel. So are Marcus and I. Freedom. That's what Lydia's betrayal gave us. Freedom from her toxicity. Freedom from managing her emotions. Freedom from making ourselves smaller so she could feel bigger. Freedom to succeed without guilt. Freedom to be happy without apologizing. The investigator who exposed her sent us a Christmas card last year. Inside he wrote, "To the family that chose truth over comfortable lies." He understood what we'd gained by losing Lydia. He'd seen enough toxic families in his work to know that sometimes losing someone is actually winning. Marcus keeps that card in his desk drawer, next to the framed report, next to our wedding photo, next to ultrasound pictures of Grace and Samuel. Reminders of what matters, what we're protecting, what we're building, what Lydia tried and failed to destroy. Tomorrow is Grace's first day of pre-kindergarten. She picked out her outfit already. A purple dress with unicorns. Her backpack has her name embroidered on it. She's so excited she can barely sleep, so proud to be a big girl, so ready for new adventures. She doesn't know that success might make others jealous, that achievement might make others resentful, that being smart and kind and capable might make someone want to tear her down. She just knows that learning is fun and friends in counseling for 3 years now. Not because we're broken, but because we want to stay strong. Our therapist says we're her success story. A couple that survived targeted destruction and came out closer. That turned trauma into growth. That chose each other over and over again. She also says Lydia did us a favor by being so obvious. Some toxic family members are subtle. They destroy slowly, quietly, over decades. They maintain plausible deniability. They gaslight their victims into thinking they're imagining things. Lydia's public explosion made her toxicity undeniable, made cutting her off justified to everyone watching. I think about that sometimes, how different things might have been if Lydia had been smarter, if she'd kept her sabotage subtle, if she'd continued with small cuts instead of attempting one killing blow. We might have suffered for years, decades even, always wondering why life felt harder with her around, always questioning if we were being too sensitive. Instead, she showed everyone exactly who she was, in front of 50 witnesses, on camera because my cousin was recording the shower, with evidence that couldn't be denied or explained away. She thought she was destroying me publicly. She actually destroyed herself while freeing me. The restraining order paperwork is in our safe. Next to our passports and birth certificates, important documents that protect our family, legal proof that Lydia is dangerous, official recognition that blood doesn't guarantee safety. Sometimes the people who share your DNA are the ones you need protection from. Helen checks in weekly. She's become the mother figure I needed, the one who protects instead of enables, who sees clearly instead of making excuses, who chose me over keeping peace with a toxic person. She says I remind her of herself at my age. Determined, strong, unwilling to accept abuse just to avoid conflict. Richard sends baby gifts from his retirement travels, onesies from Paris, wooden toys from Germany, books from London. Each package includes a note about how proud he is of me, how I proved that integrity and success go hand in hand, how I showed that good people can win against those who would destroy them. My team at work threw me a surprise shower last week. Nothing big, just cake in the conference room. But it meant everything because it was genuine. No ulterior motives. No hidden resentments. Just people who respect. She would have crumbled. I told her she was stronger than she knew. That we all are when protecting what matters. That facing a bully, even a sister bully, becomes possible when the alternative is letting them win. That courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting despite it. Grace has been practicing being a big sister with her dolls. She feeds them bottles, changes their diapers, sings them lullabies. She tells them stories about all the fun they'll have together. The games they'll play, the adventures they'll share, the love they'll give each other. This is what sibling relationships should be: supportive, loving, protective. Not what Lydia and I had. Not competition and resentment and sabotage. Grace and Samuel will know better. They'll have better. They'll be better. Marcus painted Samuel's room himself. Every wall, every detail. He said he wanted to build something beautiful for our son, to create with his own hands instead of destroying with doubt, to prove that he's committed to our family's future, not stuck in our past. The paint is perfect. The furniture is assembled. The clothes are washed and folded. Everything is ready for Samuel's arrival. Everything prepared with joy, not jealousy, with anticipation, not dread, with love that builds instead of love that destroys. We're different people than we were at that first shower. Stronger, wiser, more careful about who we trust, but also happier, more grateful, more aware of how precious real love is, how rare true support is, how valuable genuine family is. Lydia gave us those gifts without meaning to. By showing us the worst, She made us appreciate the best. By trying to destroy us, she made us indestructible. By forcing us to choose, she helped us choose each other completely. I no longer check over my shoulder for her, no longer wonder what she's planning, no longer care about her opinion or her feelings or her struggles. She made herself irrelevant through her own actions, made herself a stranger through her own choices, made herself powerless through her own overreach. The baby shower is this Saturday. 50 people are coming, real friends, chosen family, people who celebrated when I succeeded, who supported me when I struggled, who believed me when I was accused, who stood by me when choosing love over doubt, about learning from mistakes and growing stronger together, about the family we're building on foundations of truth instead of lies. It's beautiful. It made me cry happy tears, tears of relief that we survived, tears of joy that we're here, tears of gratitude for the people who stood by us, tears of excitement for our future, clean tears, healing tears. Not the desperate tears from that first shower when I thought I was losing everything. My parents will both speak at this shower too. They've prepared something together. About grandparent love and family bonds and protecting what matters. About learning hard lessons and making difficult choices. About choosing grandchildren's safety over a daughter's redemption. Helen will say something too. About mentorship and chosen family and seeing potential in others. About standing up for truth and protecting the innocent. About how proud she is to be Samuel's honorary grandmother. About how our family represents everything good that can come from surviving something bad. But mostly, this shower will be about looking forward, not back. About Samuel's future, not Lydia's past. About building, not destroying. About love, not hate. About everything she tried to take but couldn't. Everything she wanted but didn't earn. Everything we have because we chose each other over her poison. The story ends where it began, with a baby shower. But this time, it's different. This time, we're prepared. This time, we're protected. This time, we're surrounded only by people who love us truly. This time, no one will grab a microphone and try to destroy us with lies. This time, if someone chokes, it will be from laughing too hard at baby shower games, from crying happy tears during speeches, from eating too much cake in celebration. Not from betrayal, not from shock, not from the realization that your own sister orchestrated your destruction. This is our redemption, our second chance, our proof that we won, that truth defeated lies, that love defeated hate, that we defeated her. And if you're wondering whether I feel guilty about cutting Lydia from our lives completely, I don't. Not even a little. She made her choice at that first baby shower. She chose destruction over support. She chose lies over truth. She chose jealousy over love. Now she lives with those choices. Alone. Without family. We weren't. The baby shower is in 6 days. Samuel will be here in 3 months. Grace starts kindergarten next year. Marcus just got promoted to senior partner. I'm running the entire marketing division now. My parents are healthy and happy. Helen and Richard are traveling the world. Everyone who stood by us is flourishing. And Lydia? She's exactly where her choices led her. Alone with her jealousy, bitter with her resentment, stuck in the life she created through destruction, the life she deserves, the life she chose. So if you ever face a family member who tries to destroy you, remember this. Blood doesn't make them family. Love does. Support does. Trust does. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and your real family is to let the toxic ones go. Completely. Forever. Without guilt or regret. Because life is too short to spend it managing someone else's jealousy. Too precious to waste on people who celebrate your failures. Too beautiful to let someone's ugliness poison it. Choose your family. Protect your peace. Live your life. And never, ever let anyone, especially not a jealous sister, take your joy away. Because in the end, living well isn't the best revenge. It's the only life worth living.